Our first speaker today is Mahima. Mahima is an international best-selling author. She's a spiritual rebel, and she believes in happiness right now. She's a mentor, a founder of Love Silence, which is a personal development academy that helps you to awaken to your inner peace, let go of stress habits, avoid burnout, very important, sleep better, communicate more authentically, and start getting extraordinary results in all areas of your life. So, message from Mahima. Ladies of the Awe Summit, the moment holds all the inner gold, diamond, pearls and sparkles you need for this entire lifetime, and this will be fantastically good news for your boyfriends and husbands. Please welcome on stage Mahima Klinge.
Even though we're told to look everywhere else for it. In every human heart burns a flame of wisdom, waiting to be discovered, waiting to be shared, waiting to be turned into a bonfire. We have people in this room from all different countries, nationalities, religious backgrounds, and I'd like to invite you all to an experience of unity, a meeting that's going to take place deep in the heart, beyond the intellect. Are you guys up for that? Yeah, okay. So I'd like to ask you please to stand up gracefully and powerfully and just put all your stuff down. And now close your eyes. Close your eyes. Let the music support you. Stand strong and stand tall. Stand available to connect with yourself in the most beautiful and profound way. Let's use the breath to relax us even further. Deep inhaling and deep exhaling. I'm going to be speaking to the knower inside of you. You were born with that knowledge. You know everything there is to know about inner peace, love, joy, and happiness. It is who you are in the core. And we want to allow ourselves to connect with that knowing. So this conversation is going to take place through the heart to the heart. And the knower inside of you knows this. Silence is to your soul what water is to your body. Essential. The body needs water, and your soul, your spirit, your power, your inner self needs silence to thrive and to survive. So let's just take a moment with the knower inside of us to connect to that truth, to that knowledge, to that wisdom. Staying with the deep inhale and allowing the silence to soothe your mind, soothe your body, nurture your spirit, and guide you even deeper. Inside of you is an inner peace, a love and a joy that has nothing to do with the outside circumstances, people, or events in your life. It is who you are in the core. It is your birthright. See if you can allow yourself to just connect to that inner peace right now, feeling the moment, the beauty of being present in the now. Inside of you is the wisdom to face all challenges life presents you, and the wisdom to enjoy the journey. And I believe that's a reason to celebrate. So let's take our hands together like we're praying to come to the end of our unity experience together, and just acknowledge everyone in the heart for a moment. And I want you to silently clap, open your eyes, and please give a big smile to anyone who's around you, near you, to me maybe as well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please take a seat. Thank you. Thank you. Inner peace, love, joy, happiness, these are qualities that arise in us when we get connected to who we really are. That's when we realize that it's not just about achieving, but more about giving. But not just any giving. Giving from our abundance, giving from our overflow, giving from a place that as we give, we get filled up and not depleted. And this allows us, when we do this, to move out of that me consciousness into a more expanded we consciousness. And in this place, this we consciousness, great things are possible. In this place, greatness is possible. I was very young when I realized that I was seeking inner peace and happiness. My childhood was rough. There was sexual abuse, physical abuse, abandonment. But it's not because I came from a family full of bad people. Quite the contrary. They were wonderful people. But they were doing the best with the information, knowledge, and that they had at the time. And we all know this. So it really doesn't matter what happens in your childhood when you can stay in an open heart, like I basically did. Because even though I came from that, let's say, negative space, I had the advantage that I was still fully connected to the soul part of me, to the spirit part of me, to the part of me that could still experience a lot of beauty and joy. So even though all that stuff happened to me, I recall some beautiful moments in my childhood. My favorite thing was sitting under the lemon tree at my grandmother's house. There was this white bench, and I would often sit there, my little skinny black legs dangling above the green grass, my bare feet kissing the grass with each stroke, my eyes locked on the happy dance of the dragonflowers, ball dancing in the wind, my nose filled with the smell of the lemons, and my ears filled with the sound of the buzzing bees and the silence in between. And all this would take place under the deep blue of the African sky. I was barely 7 or 8 years old, but there I would often sit, connected, at one with the world, in full peace and contentment. We think we're lacking something. We think something's wrong with us. We think we're broken. We think we need fixing. We think that there is a pain inside of us that we can never heal. We think. We think that there are challenges in our life that we don't know how to deal with or don't have the tools to deal with. We think our past defines our future. We carry the burden of the past as if it's happening to us right now. We fear the future as if it's guaranteed. We think. And in this, some of us break down, some of us break out, some of us get numb, and some of us lose faith. We lose faith in ourselves, and we lose faith in humanity. And I think you'll all agree with me that that is the beginning of insanity. Well, I was 22 years old, after a devastating marriage and divorce, left me in all those symptoms of disconnect from spirit, from the soul part of me. I was on the verge of breaking down. I left Zimbabwe as a way of breaking out. I was numb and I'd lost faith. But I was 22 years old. I still had faith in humanity, and I still had a big dream to see the world. So that meant that strange serendipities and strange situations, I found myself on a plane to India. And this plane crash landed, boom, in an Indian ashram. I had no idea about gurus. I'd never read a spiritual book in my life. The words namaste, samsara, nirvana, satori meant absolutely nothing to me. Not only was I completely clueless, I was completely skeptical of what I saw when I arrived at this ashram. I'm talking about those long robes, the long hair, the long beards, and the long eye-gazing sessions. Back in the 90s, that was a popular sign of being deeply connected to the self. So there, imagine that. I sat in the great Buddha hall. I was surrounded by hundreds of people in long white robes. I wore my compulsory long white robe as well. And it was a cold marble floor, and I sat there looking around me, and all I could think of is, what the fuck am I doing here? But of course, I smiled seductively so that nobody had a clue that that's what I was thinking. The guru had passed away, so what they would do is watch his image on a big screen. So the screen would come down, and then they would project his image onto that screen. But before they got to that, they would do this thing where there was a band with sitars, rock guitars, very odd. And they started playing this very special music. And hundreds of people in white robes stood up and started dancing. And they started to move very slowly, very sensually, some of them gazing into each other's eyes, others staring up or closing their eyes, seeming to be somewhere where I had no clue where they were. And the music would go louder and louder and louder and louder and louder and louder until there was everybody dancing and moving chaotically, almost like I've never seen anything like this. Hundreds of people giving gas fully, and then they would suddenly lift the energy up and stop. Whew, and shout the name of that guru into the silence. Well, there I sat in my first ever meditation. I didn't move a muscle. I was like a stone Buddha. I couldn't look anyone in the eye. And all I kept thinking, like a stuck record, over and over again is, what the fuck am I doing here? But continuing to smile seductively so that nobody had an idea. So after what seemed like an eternity of dancing and shouting and so forth, these white people finally settled down. The hall became totally quiet. You could hear a pin dropping. The screen came down, and I saw that guru for the first time. He looked funny. He had a long robe, long hair, long beard, and those long gazing eyes. They penetrated through the screen and went deep into my heart, stared deep into my heart. So there I sat. Suddenly, the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. I was fully present and stared back. For what seemed like an eternity, we stared into each other's eyes. And then he spoke. I do not remember what he said, but that first sentence was the first slice into my thick shield of skepticism. And with each sentence, he kept slicing and slicing and slicing and slicing and slicing until that shield fell away. And all I could do was breathe in exhale and close my eyes, I suddenly entered into this deepest state of inner awareness and inner peace. It was the most profound thing I'd ever experienced in my life up to that point. And then his words continued to guide me. His hypnotic voice took me even deeper until on that day, I fully awoke to something. It was a thing that I didn't know existed until that moment. It was an inner peace, a love, and a joy that had nothing to do with any outside circumstances, events, or people in my life. It was as if a door opened and I discovered something inside of myself that had no bearing on anything else. I was in a peace. I felt freedom. I had arrived there with an empty heart and a full head. And there I now sat with an empty head and a full, overflowing heart. Now, when I tell the story to people, but before I get there, I must say that nothing gives me more pleasure than to support other people to find their inner strength and power. But when I tell my story to people, and that was just the beginning of an adventure that went on for many years with teachers and meditation, they think that I do not experience any challenges in my life, I've never done anything that I'm not ashamed of, or I haven't experienced any difficulties. And when they would think that, they would be absolutely correct. Just kidding. Of course not. That may not be true at all. But what is true is this, that since then, my eyes are open, and I see that we are living in a friendly universe that wants nothing more for us than to succeed, and is cheering us on every step of the way. Since then, my heart is open, and I'm able to love and give and share. And it doesn't matter if I like people or don't like people, agree with them, agree with what they're doing. I love all beings. I accept all beings. And there is an openness. I am love, not looking for love. And the most exciting thing is that since then, I can create, I can think, independent of the limitations that people are constantly trying to put on me. So I'm sharing my story with you today so that you may know this. However the past has been, however traumatic or challenging, however much you've lost faith along the way or doubted yourself or lacked or lost confidence, that is in the past. And right here, right now, inside of you is all the wisdom, love, and joy you seek. All you have to do to connect to that is to stop looking outside yourself to find it. And stop thinking, I'll be happy when I meet that beautiful man, when I get that beautiful kid, when I get my dream job or make those millions. Everything you need is already inside of you right now. But why is that so difficult for us to accept and to know? Well, we have to understand that we're living in a world where they teach us more how to work hard and struggle, yeah? Then they teach us how to connect to our inner power, follow our bliss, stand in our beauty and light. We live in a world where they teach us more how to be fearful than they teach us how to be fearless and stand strong in a place of trust. Now, I'm not saying that you have to go to India like I did and find an Indian guru. Personal development has come a long way since then, so it's really exciting. You can find a teacher, a guide, a mentor, a coach, anybody who can help you to find your inner power and strength right now. And what happens when you do that is you expand your mind so you can think more positively and more powerfully. And what happens when you do that is you let go of the fear and the pain of the past so that you can love and give more generously. But most importantly, the exciting and the most exciting part is when you do these two things, you enter into this state where you connect to an inner peace, a love, a joy, a beauty that has nothing and no bearing to do with the outside circumstances, events, or people in your life. It is who you are in the core. It is your birthright. Be open to that now. Because any lasting transformation you seek can only take place inside of you in the power of the now.